Hello, Mark Red Larson here for the Dreamcatcher podcast. Thank you for joining us. Today, my guest is Blake Peshek.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for joining us today. So, how are you doing?
Doing well.
Very
Got me
good.
A nice warm coffee.
Yeah, coffee's always good. Any time of the day, I think. So we just kind of recently got to know each other out at the Y. So what? I mean, are you native to Hastings, Nebraska?
Yep. Hastings is home.
Okay.
So have lived in Kansas City for a few years.
Oh, really?
And, yeah. Back to Nebraska. I've lived in the Tri-Cities, Kearney, Grand Island, and Hastings. And so, but this is home. Yep.
So what brought you back to Hastings?
Family.
Okay.
Family is pretty big, important piece of my wife and I's life, and so yeah.
So wife and you have
4 kids.
Wow.
Yeah, I've got one graduating high school.
Really?
Yeah, this spring, and then I have a little caboose, a 7-year-old.
Wow.
So I've got a wide mix, and I'm going to be at it for a while.
Yeah, I was going to say that definitely quite a while. So that's awesome. So okay, so does your wife work?
She stays home and works.
And that is definitely that's work. That's definitely with that many kids. So okay, we're going to talk about it a little bit. What do you do now?
So I run a company here in Hastings called Provident Promotions.
Okay.
We also have a couple subsidiary type businesses.
Okay.
One is a photography business. We call it Provident Photography. Pretty clever on the name there.
Yeah, exactly.
And we also started a hosting company as well to host our websites. Our primary things that we do here at Provident are graphic design, website design and development. We do, a lot of brand and identity work with companies. So companies will come to us with brand new startups and say, hey, here's our name. We need a look about us. Can you help us with our mark, our logo, our identities? And so we'll do that with startups, but we also do it with existing companies who've been around for years, kind of sweeten the logo or bring it up to date.
Right.
And we are basically a full-service ad agency, but not the full-service ad agency price. We like to market it that way.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So,
well, I know you do headshots because you did one for me, a few of them for me a few weeks ago, which were awesome. So what took you to doing that, to getting into this?
Yeah, great question. I went to school in Kearney, Nebraska, getting a marketing degree.
Okay.
I always knew from a little guy that I like to talk. I like people. I like to be in front of people.
Yep.
And I think I learned pretty early on that sales would be some part of sales would be a part of my life.
Right.
I didn't know, it would be a marketing company or anything like that. But I figured out early on that was kind of the area that I would focus on.
Okay.
And even thinking back in the day, like high school, some of my entrepreneurial adventures in high school. I used to run a DJ service.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
So to make money, I'd deliver pizzas during the week, but on the weekends, I would rent the fairgrounds or the Knights of Pythias, Knights of Columbia, or Columbus, different places, maybe City Auditorium.
Okay.
I had speakers, I had music, I had lights. I also played in a rock and roll band. So
I love it.
I love music, and so I thought, well, I have the sound system to go play concerts. I'm like, how could I make real money out of
Right, yeah.
DJing a dance back in the mid-'90s, you could gross close to $1,000.
Wow.
A night.
That's good.
It was very good for, 16, 17, 18.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'd rent, maybe some CDs from some friends, and I would hire the Pinkerton security guards would come.
Really? Okay.
So I learned, just to kind of congregate people, make money, have fun. So I guess where I'm going with that, though, in Hastings, the high schools, they wouldn't let you hang up any marketing materials. You couldn't hang up posters. They didn't want you handing out flyers.
I can see that.
So one way to skirt that was I hired a graphic designer.
Okay.
Who actually was a really good with airbrush. So
nice.
she would airbrush big posters for me. And I would hire a couple other of my buddies.
Sure, right.
And in between classes in high school, we would carry large posters up and down the hall. And
There's a Willer's away.
We'd take it, dance Saturday night. It was $3 to get in, and they couldn't stop that.
Right.
It's freedom of speech.
Exactly.
So that's how I would market in between classes.
Okay.
Adams Central was a little bit different high school. The principal out there would let me actually put flyers on the windshields for a while.
That's pretty good. That's really good.
Zip out there over the lunch hour and just plaster all the cars with flyers. And
cool.
So, yeah, that's that. So that was kind of a sales pitch, right? A way to get in front of people.
Sure.
And so again, I knew at a young age that I wanted to be in business somehow, some way, and I knew it would involve sales.
Okay.
And we, in economics class, we got to, in high school, make mock products and market them, and I absolutely loved it.
Right.
I just love the idea of coming up with a cool product and selling it. So even though this isn't usually a tangible product, your graphic design is definitely a product, and it's a service. And so that's what we sell. And I was going to tell you about the third part of our company. It's called Guardian Hosting. So if you go to guardianhosting.com, that is a place where we host websites. So you're gonna recognize names like GoDaddy, Network Solutions, HostGator, HostMonster. There's a million hosts out there. Well, we're one of the million. Guardian Hosting, we started our own hosting company because we felt like GoDaddy was doing too much shipping us off to India.
Oh, really? Doing
having
that?
all the customer service, all the servers, slow websites, websites that would give you a white screen, just problems. And so when this company started, we didn't have the hosting company. We would just ask the client, where would you like to host? So we weren't making any money off the hosting, but we also weren't able to keep control of the quality of how the web page was. And after a couple of years of just kind of hitting our head against the wall, we said, you know what? Why don't we serve our clients the best way we know how? And that's to give them a website that loads fast.
Exactly.
It loads all the time. And if it goes down, I'll be the first to notify you.
Exactly.
We've got an issue. We got it taken care of. And so, that's another cool piece. So there's a little bit of a tangible product, if you want to call our server.
And you're very entrepreneurial. Yeah. So, what's next? What do you see in the next 5 years?
I've always wanted to. It's always a dream of mine. Talking about dreams.
Sure.
I've always wanted to, and it's kind of on my bucket list.
Okay.
In a way, I've crossed it off, but in a way, I haven't. Like, I would like to have a physical product that I've invented and created and sold. Find a need, fill the need.
Exactly.
I want to do that. And so that's, I don't know if that's in the next 5 years, 10 years, whatever.
Right.
I've had plenty of ideas and dreams, but to actually execute it and get it to market, that's a different story.
Oh, yeah.
So,
but I have a feeling you'll do it. I know you'll do it, actually. I have not if. It will be. So, okay. So if somebody... You really run with your dreams and stuff. Mm-hmm. So if somebody was having an idea and it's like, well, he's somebody that actually, he can do it. I can't do it. What would you say to somebody like that? They just like, that's not for me. How would they get started? How do you change that mindset? I mean, how did you just take that initial jump into doing that?
I think it takes it takes passion to try it.
Yep.
It takes a certain level of, just not fearing the failure, because I think most people, even in my own life, I feel like I don't do things, or maybe I don't do things to my fullest potential because I procrastinate, because I fear the unknown, I fear failing and messing up. And I think you've got to get beyond that. You've got to get beyond your reputation of, well, what if I tank? Like, what if this company fails? What if this idea is a complete bomb?
Yep.
And I think we have to get beyond that in order to get started.
I agree.
And a lot of people just don't start because of the fear of the unknown, and the fear of failure, and the fear of, man, let's be honest, we care too much about what other people think about us.
Amen, we do.
And that holds us back.
Yep.
So when you're living for other people's perception of what they might think of you, it messes your whole
life up. It really
in so
does.
many ways. And so I think to get started is have a little passion, have a little bit of just lack of fear, and just like, I'm going to go do it. I don't care how it sucks. And if people make fun of me or people say I'm stupid, I don't care. I'm going to try it. I'm going to do it. And then the next step, though, is to, whatever you're good at, keep doing that.
Right.
But be a mouthpiece for your dream and your goal, and find people to help you execute it. Because at Provident, the only reason I'm successful, this sounds so cliche because every coach says this, football coach, but it's true. It's the people who make up the team who make the success.
True.
It's not just me, it's my guys. They're amazing.
Yep.
They're absolutely amazing. And so, but it did take me to find them, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I think there was definitely some providential work there. The good Lord was watching out, and he knew who I needed, and vice versa, and brought the team together. So that's the key. It's not, the whole cliche again. It's not what you know, it's who you know.
It is,
right?
Very much.
If I can't code a website, which I don't code websites, I got a guy who's amazing who does.
Yeah, you find somebody that does. Yeah,
and is good at it and enjoys it. And so that's the ideal situation. The next step is to go find who you need, and that might take some work and research and prayers and all that.
All the above. Yes. Yeah, I've learned that too. Is if I can't do it, there's somebody out there that can. Sure. I mean, and some people it's like, well, it's going to cost too much money. It's like in the long run, it's going to cost more money if you don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
So it's well worth to find the person that is expert in that in the long run if you want to really be moving forward. So okay, so
I do have a thought. Talking about just not just getting started, but how do you create a quality product or service and maintain it. And how do you grow and how do you take care of people? Because at the end of the day, if people quit buying your product or service, you're done.
You are.
And so your customers do need to be king no matter, what service or product you have. And I have kind of a mantra I started over the past couple of years. And that is major on your minors. Because usually the saying is, hey, quit majoring on your minors. It's like a negative thing in our culture. I say major on your minors and your minors may become major.
I like it.
In a positive way. Like if I take care of the small stuff, I have a better opportunity to have bigger projects, bigger things come down the line because of how I took care of somebody.
True. Exactly.
So a mom and pop down the street, should be just as important to me as a customer as our client out in San Diego.
Right.
It's a renewable energy company. They have over they're a $1 billion company.
Wow.
They have over 10,000 employees.
Wow.
They are worldwide. They do renewable energy, wind, solar, biogas.
Very nice.
We have the privilege of being their primary web team.
That is so cool.
Yeah. Guys downtown Hastings, Nebraska. So we didn't get that way, though, because we have 12 web developers. We have, 30, a set of 30 people on our team.
Yep.
We got that way because we work super hard at what we do.
Yep.
We get to it as fast as we can. Offer a fair price.
Yep.
And that has allowed us to grow and get to the bigger fish, so to speak. And so, but we still try to operate that way. Mom and Pop needs a good logo.
Yep.
They need a good website. And so we try to provide that just like we would.
Yeah. You're kind of irrelevant on what you realize the size of the people, but you just treat them all basically the same.
Well,
so.
You never know. Mom and Pop might be your, next Sam Walton.
It could be. You don't know. And I think that's one thing in this country that I think that's why you stand out, because most people don't do it that way. And I think that's why we have what we have in this country anymore. So, which is not good. So why do you think in this country? I had a person ask me the other day, why do you think we always go towards the negative in this country? I mean, and maybe worldwide, but I know we always.
I love that question. I think it's because it's not popular to be easily impressed. I think it's more popular to be unimpressed. I mean, think about your family, your friends.
Right.
Think about, how often do you have people that come up to you and that brag on other people or other things in a good way?
Right.
But look how quick gossip and negative news travels. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, our major media outlets.
Yep.
Something in our human nature is we're drawn to the negative press and the negative outlook.
Yep.
It's something about, though I guess it's not that bad in my life, if it's so bad out there, I think we're drawn to trying to self-elevate ourselves. And I think when we hear the negative, it almost makes us feel good. And that is
true. That's kind of a
you see what I'm saying? Otherwise, I don't think we would go back to it, right? We go back to the garbage that's being put out. Who was the guy? John was the guy off of The Office, movie star. He played Jim Halpert. John Cressy, or I can't think.
I think you're very close
He had
there.
a podcast during coronavirus, and it was.
But that would have been interesting.
It was. It was actually about. It was all positive news.
Cool.
So
I love that.
And he was trying to do the exact opposite of what everybody else. Right. I don't know how popular it got. Coming back to your question, why are we so negative?
Right.
Again, I think it's not cool to be impressed. So, right, like if you're like, hey, how was that movie? I'm like, I don't know, it was okay. I mean, story was a little, acting was,
right.
That's the cool way to be unimpressed.
Yeah. Yep.
Instead of being positive, like the acting. Could have been better, but I tell you, what a cool story! What a cool cinematography! I mean, the shots were great. Like,
right?
It just, there's something about our human nature that gravitates towards the negative, more than the positive. We kind of have to fight for that positivity.
It does, yeah, and that's another reason why I'm doing this podcast. I can tell you're a very positive person. So
yeah, thank you. I try, and it's definitely not every day, but
and nobody is. We all have our days so. Because you do a whole bunch. You were telling me, I mean, you coach baseball?
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing that?
Oh, boy. Well, my oldest is 18 years old, and I started when he was 5. So it's been 13 years, but I've got 3 boys. And so the years are kind of, multiplying there, but by doing all of them. And I love the sport of baseball.
Okay.
I played it until I was only 15, so I'm probably living vicariously.
That works. That still works.
My 18-year-old is a senior, and he graduated high school, plays high school baseball and Legion baseball in the summer. And I didn't really, I don't know if I had the opportunities like he did to do it. And so I've kind of made a priority to give him the option, not push him to say you have to do it. Like, I will help you. I love the sport. I'll coach you. I'll practice with you. If you like it, you can go do this too. And if you want, if you don't, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll get over it.
So was it a dream to go? I mean, was it professional?
Yeah, for me, not so much for
but for you though.
Yeah, I mean, I think every one of us, right, at one point, at one age, said, "I'm going to be a professional football player."
Exactly.
And you go tell your mom, and she's like, "Yeah, that's nice."
Exactly. That's true.
How do you think about that?
Yeah. We'll see how that goes. But you think your kids will want to go in professional?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I think, I think it takes a pretty good head on your shoulders to see that.
Yeah.
And maybe Hastings, not to say that no one from Hastings, Nebraska could go play pro. It's highly possible, but I do think pro athletes have a very special sense about them, even at the youngest ages. So Alex Gordon, who played at the University of Lincoln, Nebraska, who went on to play for the Kansas City Royals, Golden Glove baseball player, amazing baseball player. In fact, his 12-year-old coach works back there.
Really?
He works for the Sodbusters. Basically,
oh, wow.
Their offices are back behind mine. But I sat down with the owner and coach of Sodbusters, who used to coach Alex Gordon in Lincoln, Nebraska. And he said even at 12, everybody knew.
Just
knew how good he was. And I think if you don't have that, especially by 13, 14 years old,
probably not going to go.
You might be able to go do some college ball and have fun at that, but I think you would know at a very, very young age if you're going to be heading towards the pros. So
do you like the other sports?
I like to casually watch others, but this is the one I love to be around the most. Yeah, so.
Well, that's cool. And I know you do a bunch of things with the baseball. You were telling me before we started this how many were in the baseball program. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, we like to kind of spoil the kids in baseball too. We bring them into the studio. Hastings Athletics Organizations, the Hastings A's, is who I'm kind of the president of that organization. I oversee the coaches and the teams, but we like to do professional headshots of the kids.
Oh, awesome.
We love that.
Too.
Make them look good. We may not go pro, but we're going to live like it.
Exactly. No, that is. That's the secret. You have to be before you become.
That's a good word.
And so many people, it's like, well, I'm going to be that person. It's like, so are you becoming that person? Because you can't be all of a sudden just be that person.
Yeah, steps to get you.
You
there.
do. Yeah. You have to start acting like what they actually like. Actions bring like results, and you have to definitely have to do what they're doing. So, so what else are you doing in the community? I would guess you're doing quite a bit. So.
Yeah, so my wife and I are pretty active in our church.
Okay.
I play guitar. I think I mentioned earlier, back in the day, I was in a rock band.
Yeah, which is so cool.
Yeah, so, in high school, though, we talked about my business, my DJing and stuff, having fun. Well, I had a little too much fun. I barely graduated high school.
Really? I would never guess that.
Academics were the least priority for me.
Okay.
And to be honest, I got into the party scene pretty hard.
Well,
And by the grace of God, before I was 21, I actually went to rehab for drugs.
this surprises me. I can't believe this.
Yeah. I went to rehab and spent about 30 days there just kind of learning about how to live life without the booze and without the drugs. And I was excited but scared to see that my life was going to change that much.
I could see that.
And but when I got out of rehab, I had a good buddy invite me to church.
Awesome.
I was like, oh man, you go to church. I knew he was sober, but I was a little put out. Like, church, really? That don't sound great.
Yeah, I can understand that too.
But he invited me to North Shore Assembly of God in Hastings, and it was around Christmas time of 1996.
Okay.
And I said yes, and I went to church. I started hearing the gospel of Christ through little kids singing, and
really,
yeah, it was great. It was very I guess it was not alarming. There wasn't a heavy sermon. There wasn't heavy preaching or worship music. It was just little kids singing about Jesus, and it was enough to get me to come back. And so, 97, I accepted Christ. I started going to church. He helped me, remove that strong desire. I still have a desire.
Of course,
I've been sober since 96, but I still, I see.
I definitely understand that.
I see a sweaty, glass of beer on TV, and that looks pretty good. I remember the days, but I just know in my life, because of how I am, kind of taking things to the extreme, that it was going to be not good for me to pursue that road. But so I switched gears. I went from playing secular rock and roll to Christian rock and roll. I got in a Christian rock band.
Cool. Very cool.
We started to write songs, record CDs. We started to travel a bit.
Really? You recorded CDs and all that?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, we actually won a contest at
I love it.
Stone
cool.
Mountain, Atlanta, Georgia. It was
Okay.
1999. We won a amateur Battle of the Bands, Christian. We won some recording time in Franklin, Tennessee. So we got a pretty well-known producer to actually produce our CD.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And that kind of stuck with me. I was like, wow, I can still do music. I can still do rock and roll. And it was more about the Lord, though, and instead of partying and girls and this and that. And but I still got to do that. And this is where I'm segueing into. I took that experience from being in the rock and roll band to serving my church, being a worship leader at my church. And my wife sings and plays piano and plays guitar as well.
Nice.
And
very good.
so that was our common bond that brought us, one of the things that brought us together. The Lord, of course, did, but the music did too. And so, I served my church and my community by helping with worship and singing and playing there.
It's so cool and so needed.
Yeah, it's a good outlet for me to still be able to have music and to do it in a positive way.
So coming out with the CD coming anytime soon?
I would love to. I really would.
Do that.
I should. That
be good.
It definitely takes time, though. Like anything, whether it's trying to be a baseball player or anything that you do, businessman, you got to put time in.
You do. You got to put the reps in, or anything.
Songwriters, watching some of the really good ones. I mean, they work hard at it. It is a craft. It is a job.
Yeah.
And it's not just always fun and great, and you go make a gold record.
It doesn't work that way.
But with the 4 kids and the business and the baseball and it's maybe those are my excuses.
So, I don't have those. But, I can see you still doing that in the future. So do your family do they sing well together?
Great question. I have a daughter, Isabella, who loves to sing and play piano. She's very good. Okay. My oldest son, he's graduating. I think he is a hidden singer, meaning he doesn't like to publicly do it. But ever since he was a little boy, I've heard him singing in the background.
I can understand that.
He likes music, and we'll have to see about the 2 middle ones. I got a 14-year-old boy and another 7-year-old boy. And you kind of hear them singing in the distance, but I could see a couple of them learning the guitar or coming up and helping Dad someday.
That is so cool. And it's interesting when you never know how one thing is going to change your whole life. I mean, how you went through all, which surprises me, to where you got today. Yeah. Just one thing. So, and everybody's like, just don't discount that you're behind. You're actually where you should be exactly at that time. And it's just you just go with it. This is your life. And because I have people's like, I'm so far behind. It's like, how do you know you're behind? Because you are you. This is your life. It's just like someday you might be, recording music or CDs or, performing live. So you just never know. So you just don't want to discount. And you don't want to go the negative. Because, you could have really gone to the negative in that. And look how positive it's turned out. Yeah. So, and God has ways in very, very much. Yeah. Because even a few years ago, I would have never thought I'd be doing a podcast. And it was actually, this started way back in 2015. I think maybe I told you that with my wife's cancer and thought I was going to lose her. And it's just like, you have nothing but today, and you got to live it to today. So, that's really so Blake, anything else you want to tell the audience today?
Kind of coming back to what you just said about being in the moment now and living for the day. I think that's huge. Don't get so caught up. My advice to young business people or old business people,
right.
Don't get so caught up worrying about what other people think.
Yes.
Do you and do your ideas.
Yep.
Here's what I think. I think in life, my personal opinion, you've heard the spiritual side of my life.
Right.
I think we can get these out of balance. Like, I think we need to have reverence towards God.
Right.
And regard for man. That's kind of if I ever preach a sermon, that's my title.
Okay.
That's my title.
Okay.
And the meaning behind it is revere God or have reverence to Him, meaning you thank Him for the day. You thank Him for the air that you just breathe in and breathe out because He gave it to you. You thank Him for everything. And you look to Him as the one who provides life because He does.
He does.
Man, you should have regard for. Yeah. You should care about, to a degree, what people think or how they feel. Otherwise, you can be a total jerk. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Not caring. I don't care what people think. I just do what I want to do. Right?
Yep.
No.
Yep.
If your actions or your words that you say are hurting people, then obviously you don't have regard for man. You just have regard for you. And that's not right.
No,
now, the opposite, I think, happens with what messes us up in life and holds us back is we almost revere man or we have reverence for man. We think too much about man.
I would agree.
What is my, again, you should care what your boss thinks.
Exactly,
but not to the point where it makes you so you can't do a good job.
Yep.
Like you're always worried that I'm going to screw up or it's not going to be perfect.
Yes.
Or, how do I make him or her happy all the time? So you're revering man. You're basically kind of worshiping man's thought.
Yep.
And that can dictate and control our lives. So we need to get those in balance. Like, and again, I think it's a spiritual matter of God helping us say, help me care enough about people that I would serve and help them and think about them, but not to the point where I can't sleep at night or I can't do other things because I'm too worried about what Mark might feel towards me.
Exactly.
I can't live a life like that. And so, it should be more towards God. God, am I living a life that's pleasing to you?
Yep.
Does this honor you? What I'm saying, what I'm doing, and so if we can get those two things kind of in order, that will help.
I agree. Very, very much.
That'd be just the last input about that. Because like you said, the being here and now is important.
Yep.
And it's super important to have that reverence and that regard.
It is.
In correct order.
I agree.
So that you can be here now. Because otherwise, here's a non-biblical, kind of a funny saying my brother told me.
Okay.
And you learn this in AA. By the way, I did do AA, and I love it. I think the program's good. And, cool. And I think... But there was a guy said this, or my brother said this, in a meeting one time. He said, if you have one leg in yesterday and you have one leg in tomorrow, you're peeing on today.
True. That's very visual. So that's good.
Well, it's so true. We get caught up in, I should have, I could have, I wished I would have done it different.
Yeah.
Or, oh my God, what should I do? I got to think of how to strategize, make tomorrow better. Oh, fear it, have anxious thoughts, let it control you. Right. And what is happening in the moment, in the here and now? It's being peed on.
Yeah.
Right? So
It is. Yeah.
I think that's a good way to.
And that is. I really like that. I'm going to definitely remember that. And it is. Because most people do that. They beat themselves up for what they didn't do. Yes. And then it keeps them from moving forward.
Yeah.
Or they don't think they're,
Yeah, I fear failing again. Or I don't want to feel like I used to feel.
Yep.
So again, you're living too much in the future and too much in the past, and you need to be right here.
And I would guess most people are not in the moment. Most people are doing that.
Right.
So,
and thanks to, again, this is kind of weird. I'm kind of rambling us on, but social media kind of helps us to do that, to live in the past and live in the future.
Yes.
The fear factor of what could happen to the economy, what could happen to our health, what could happen
exactly.
to, and that's where they try to pull us in with that.
They do, very much, and a lot of people fall for it.
We need to tune in more positive things like your podcast.
We do. Amen. Yes, we do. I mean, and everything positive. I mean, life is not all positive, but there's always something positive that you can find every day.
That's right.
And that's one thing where I talk to people. It's just like, we were talking about people caring what other people think. It's like, usually they're not thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves.
Absolutely.
So just like you said, be you. That's probably one of the most positive things. And you were put here for a reason on this planet.
Right.
And
at this time, at this place. And I think about that a lot, too, because you and I could have been born any time in history, any place in the world.
Exactly.
For some sovereign reason, we're here right now.
Yep.
We're not in California. We're not in Ethiopia. We're not.
Exactly.
It wasn't 200 years ago. It's today.
Yep.
And so, live in that moment.
Yeah, and I believe everybody meets a person when they're supposed to, and it all occurs the way it's supposed to. I believe so.
That's good.
So there's positive out there, and keep watching my podcast. So it's going to continue to be positive. So anything else today? Good. Okay. Well, thank you for joining us today, Blake. I appreciate that. Would you consider doing a follow up sometime?
Sure.
Okay. Awesome. So on that, I'll end the podcast today. This has been, I knew it'd be a lot of fun. So, like I said, thanks for joining us, and we'll talk soon then.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.